Most campervan reviews tell you how a van feels on the first test drive. The interior finish, the layout, how smoothly it pulls out of the dealership parking lot. What nobody tells you is what that same van looks like at 100,000 miles, what it costs to keep running, what breaks first, what breaks repeatedly, and whether the owner would buy it again knowing everything they know now. That is the only review that actually matters for someone spending their retirement savings on a vehicle they plan to live in, travel in, or rely on for the next 10 to 15 years. By the end of this video, you are going to know which campervans have the strongest long-term reliability records after 100,000 miles, what they have in common, and what that means for your buying decision right now. This list was built from owner reporting across major RV communities, including IRV2, Sprinter Source, and dedicated brand owner groups, combined with independent mechanic observations and resale market data. Not manufacturer marketing, not first-year reviews, long-term owner experience. One important clarification before we begin. This ranking reflects the convergence of multiple long-term ownership signals, rather than a single published study. No single source is definitive, but when owner communities, resale markets, and independent service observations point consistently in the same direction for the same model over time, that convergence is meaningful. That is what this list reflects. Why most buyers get this wrong. Here is the misconception almost every first-time campervan buyer carries into their research. They assume that a van which feels well-built on the test drive will continue to feel well-built at 80,000 miles, that a premium price means premium long-term reliability, that a good warranty means the manufacturer is confident in the product. None of those assumptions are reliably true. Some of the most expensive campervans on the market have documented reliability problems that only emerge after the first major service interval. Some of the most aggressively marketed warranties in the industry contain exclusions that leave owners exposed to exactly the repairs they were most worried about. And some of the best reviewed vans in year 1 become the most complained about vans in year 4. Here is something most buyers never consider. Resale value is one of the honest reliability signals available because it reflects what thousands of informed buyers are willing to pay for a used example of that van. When a specific model holds its value well at 80,000 miles, it means the market trusts that the van has useful life remaining. When a model loses value quickly, the market is telling you something about long-term confidence that the manufacturer's brochure never will. The buyers who get this right stop asking how a van feels new and start asking how it performs used. How this list was built. Long-term reliability data for campervans is harder to find than standard passenger vehicles. What exists is a combination of owner community reporting across forums including IRV2, Sprinter Source, and dedicated brand owner groups, combined with independent mechanic observations and resale market data reflecting real-world demand for specific models at significant mileage, and publicly available recall and technical service bulletin records. When multiple independent sources point consistently in the same direction for the same model over time, that convergence is what earns a van its position on this list. One important caveat: long-term reliability at high mileage is never purely about the van. Maintenance history matters enormously. A well-maintained example of a less reliable model will often outlast a neglected example of a more reliable one. What this list reflects is the reliability potential these platforms have when properly cared for. The list, starting from 12. Number 12, the Winnebago Travato. Built on the Ram ProMaster platform, the Travato has a loyal long-term ownership community, itself a meaningful signal. Owner forums consistently report that the conversion components hold up well at high mileage. The ProMaster platform has documented issues around certain electrical systems and transmission behavior that appear in owner reporting and technical service bulletins. The Travato earns its place through strong conversion quality and an active owner network that shares maintenance knowledge openly. Number 11. The Airstream Interstate. Airstream's build quality carries into the interstate line, and the resale market reflects it. Used interstates hold value better than most competitors at equal mileage. The Mercedes Sprinter base brings its own maintenance requirements at high mileage, particularly around the AdBlue system, fuel injectors, and certain electrical components that appear repeatedly in Sprinter owner communities. Owners who plan for those costs report a genuinely satisfying long-term experience. Number 10. The Pleasure Way Tofino. The Tofino has earned a strong reputation among owners who value simplicity. And here's something worth understanding before we go further. Simplicity is one of the most underrated reliability factors in the campervan category. Every system you add to a van is a system that will eventually need repair. Air suspension, slide-outs, complex integrated technology. Each one adds capability, and each one adds a potential failure point at 80,000 miles. Pleasureway's philosophy of building what you need and nothing more has produced vans that long-term owner communities report running reliably well past 100,000 miles. That kind of consistent reporting does not appear by accident. Number 9. The Storyteller Overland Mode. A newer entrant with a growing high-mileage community built on the Mercedes Sprinter with four-wheel drive capability. The Mode ranks below the Tofino specifically because the additional drivetrain complexity of the four-wheel drive system offsets some of its excellent build quality at high mileage. More components means more potential failure points over time. That said, owners who maintain these vans correctly report strong durability, and the ownership community shows notably low turnover, which is one of the clearest signals that the long-term experience is positive. Number 8. Ford Transit-based conversions from builders with documented quality control processes. The Transit platform itself deserves a moment of separate discussion because it underpins multiple vans on this list. Ford's service network is one of the broadest in North America, and that breadth matters more at 90,000 miles than it does at 9,000. When something needs attention far from home, the difference between a platform with a service center in the next town and one requiring a specialist several states away is not an inconvenience, it's a potential stranding. Independent mechanics who regularly service high-mileage campervans often report that transit-based builds are among the most straightforward to service, precisely because qualified technicians and genuine parts are widely accessible. Parts availability and service accessibility are reliability factors that most buyers significantly underweight when they're standing in a showroom focused on interior finishes. Number 7. The Outside Van on Ford Transit. Outside Van has built a reputation for overbuilding their conversions in ways that compound positively at high mileage. Their electrical systems, structural components, and living systems are built with more redundancy than most competitors. In owner communities, outside van owners at 80,000 and 90,000 miles consistently report that the conversion itself has given them far less trouble than they expected. Independent mechanics who regularly service high-mileage campervans often report that well-built electrical systems like those found in outside van conversions are significantly easier to diagnose and service than systems where components are less accessible or less logically organized. Number 6. The Leisure Travel Van Wonder. Built in Canada, the Wonder has one of the strongest long-term ownership satisfaction rates in the category. In the IRV2 community, Wonder owners consistently report positive experiences at 70,000, 80,000, and beyond. When you see a consistent pattern of owners keeping a van rather than trading it, that tells you something the manufacturer's marketing cannot. The Sprinter platform's maintenance requirements apply here as they do across all Sprinter-based builds. Budget for them, and they don't become surprises. Number 5. The Airstream Atlas. The Atlas ranks above the Wonder because Airstream's build standards at this tier and the Atlas's resale performance consistently outpace comparable Sprinter-based competitors. Resale values for the Atlas are among the strongest in the category at equal mileage, reflecting genuine market confidence in long-term durability. Remember what we said earlier about resale as a reliability signal. The market is pricing in expected useful life remaining. A van that holds strong resale value at 80,000 miles is telling you something that a first-year review simply cannot. Number 4. The Winnebago Bolt. Also on the Mercedes Sprinter, the Bolt ranks above the Atlas because of a combination of factors that compound at high mileage. Winnebago's dealer network provides service accessibility that the Airstream's smaller network does not match in most regions outside major metropolitan areas. And the Bolt owner community is one of the most detailed and active in the category.
Owners share specific maintenance records, high mileage observations, and component-level experiences that make the ownership experience more manageable over time. That accumulated community knowledge is a practical reliability asset that has real value at 90,000 miles. Number 3. The Coach House Platinum on Ford Transit. Coach House builds to a standard that shows up consistently in long-term owner reporting, and the transit platform underneath provides the service network depth that makes high-mileage ownership genuinely practical. The Coach House Platinum ranks above the Bolt because the transit platform's service accessibility in North America outpaces what the Sprinter network offers in many regions outside major metropolitan areas, and because long-term owner reporting for the Platinum shows conversion quality that holds up in ways that justify the premium positioning.
Number 2. High-quality Sprinter-based conversions from established builders with transparent quality control processes. This position requires more explanation than a single model name, because the Sprinter platform is simultaneously the most capable campervan base available and the most maintenance-intensive. Here is something most dealers will not tell you. The Sprinter is an outstanding platform for buyers who go in with accurate expectations about maintenance costs and a clear plan for accessing qualified Sprinter technicians. And none of those factors are directly correlated with price. The owners who report the highest long-term satisfaction on Sprinter-based builds are not the ones who got lucky, they're the ones who understood what they were buying before they signed. The ones who budgeted for Sprinter-specific maintenance, the ones who identified a qualified service center before they needed one. Preparation is the variable that separates positive Sprinter ownership experiences from negative ones, not luck and not price. And number 1, the Pleasureway Excel on the Ford Transit. This ranking will surprise buyers who associate reliability with premium pricing. It should not surprise anyone who has spent time in long-term owner communities. The Excel earns the top position through a combination of factors that consistently produce positive outcomes at significant mileage. The transit base provides broad service network access across North America. Pleasureway's conversion philosophy, build simply, build well, avoid unnecessary complexity, produces a van with fewer systems to fail. Owner communities for the Excel consistently report positive experiences well beyond 100,000 miles. The resale market reflects this long-term confidence, and perhaps most tellingly, Excel owners who eventually sell typically report that they would buy another one. That is the single most meaningful data point available about any vehicle, not what buyers say before they buy, what they say after years of ownership. This is not the most glamorous van on this list. It is the most consistently dependable. What every van on this list has in common. Look across these 12, and a pattern emerges that is more valuable than any individual ranking. Every van in the top half was built with a philosophy of quality over complexity. The builders who earn the best long-term reliability records are not the ones adding the most features. They're the ones building fewer systems to a higher standard. Every van in the top half has an active owner community that shares maintenance knowledge. Vans that attract long-term loyal owners generate communities that make those vans easier to own at high mileage. The knowledge base compounds over time and has real practical value when something eventually needs attention far from home. And every van in the top half is supported by a base platform with broad service network access. At 50,000 miles, you can take your van almost anywhere for service. At 100,000 miles, you start to feel the difference between a platform with nationwide coverage and one that requires a specialist. Here's the insight that most buyers resist. Price does not predict reliability at high mileage. Some of the most expensive campervans in the category have documented reliability problems that only emerge after warranty coverage expires. Some of the most modestly priced builds on this list have better long-term owner satisfaction than vans costing twice as much. And none of those factors, builder philosophy, platform choice, conversion quality, are directly correlated with price. A buyer who focuses on long-term reliability data rather than showroom impressions will consistently make better financial decisions than one who equates cost with quality. Here's the second insight that most buyers miss entirely. The total cost of ownership over 10 years is a far more important number than the purchase price.
A van that costs $15,000 more upfront but requires significantly less in repairs over a decade is not the expensive option. The math is straightforward. Most buyers never do it before they sign. Who should use this list and how? If you are in the research phase, use this list as a starting filter. Before you fall in love with any van, spend time in the owner communities for the models you're considering. Find them on IRV2, find the brand-specific Facebook groups, read the posts from owners at 70,000, 90,000, 100,000, not the initial excitement posts, the posts from people who have lived with their decision long enough to know what they actually bought. If you were choosing between two vans at a similar price point, weight the long-term reliability data more heavily than any other single factor. The purchase price is a one-time event. The ownership costs are a commitment that follows you for years. One final thought. Buying the wrong camper van does not usually ruin retirement overnight. It does it one repair bill at a time. One unexpected service visit, one warranty claim that gets denied, one part that takes weeks to arrive because the platform doesn't have the service network you assumed it did. The vans on this list are the ones whose owners are not having those conversations. They're the ones still driving, still traveling, and still glad they bought what they bought. The next video covers the hidden costs that hit buyers in year one that the dealer never mentioned. Most buyers are shocked by how different the real monthly cost of campervan ownership is from the number on the contract they signed. Watch that before you finalize any budget. If you own one of the vans on this list, tell us in the comments, what has your high mileage experience actually been? And what would you tell a first-time buyer that the dealer never mentioned? Your experience helps every buyer watching this channel make a smarter decision.